Join us now on Drive the Lane, former Ohio State and NFL wide receiver and CFL legend, DeVier Posey. Welcome to the show.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on, Andrew. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. You weren't so happy, or maybe you were happy about being called a CFL legend.
The thing is that it was like one legendary game, but I got a lot of respect for guys that have put in work up there. And, I can't hold, like, some dudes that have 10,000 yards, 12,000 yards. Like, I had a good game.
We might as well, I guess, let's touch on that first. We'll go, it's like we'll work backwards real quick.
Okay.
Let's talk about that game. A lot of Ohio State fans know about that game. I'm sure a lot of Canadian Football League fans know about that game. For someone who did not watch it, does not know it, talk about that legendary game.
Oh, so, honestly, bro, we had a 9-9 season that year, but we had a lot of injuries, and a lot of people on that team went on to get big contracts in the CFL. And there's a former Chicago Bears coach, Mark Tressel. He was our coach. So just being able to we just had a good vibe that year. We were obviously in Toronto. We practiced at 3 different facilities that year. Honestly, some of the most ghetto stuff you'll ever see, bro, for a professional team. And since then, obviously Tannenbaum has purchased the team and the facilities have gone through the roof. But man, we just had a year filled with adversity. And so we got hot at the right time. I got healthy, 8 games left in the season. And man, we were able to run the table, man, and beat some good teams. And just on that night, it was my night. I had Coach Tressman called a play. And obviously, for people who don't know, the CFL field is 125 yards. The end zones are 25 yards deep. So we were on our 5, and I had 100-yard, touchdown, set the Grey Cup record, and went on to win MVP. And the thing about it is without that play, I only had 75 yards. So it was just that play that helped. And, man, it's a legendary night. My mom was there, my wife, my brother. It was a movie, man. It was a movie.
You're on 97.1 The Fan now. Joey actually is too during basketball season more, but he was on it a few weeks ago. But when you're on interviews and when you're talking to people and they're like, "Yo, DP, what's your favorite highlight, favorite moment?" Is that your go-to answer?
No, that game was cold. Are we allowed to? Can we?
Yes.
It was cold as shit, man. I'm not gonna lie. It was. I watched the game and I was like, "Babe, hand me a blanket." I got PTSD. I'm just shivering watching it. And so, for that reason, no. But I will have to go with the Rose Bowl for me, man. It was just a time in life where you kind of Ohio State is just this big monster, and you really don't. I didn't play much my freshman year. I kind of sat behind Hartline and Robisky and those guys, and it was sort of my moment to feel all right, I feel like I'm a college player. I feel like I actually can do this and do well at this game. So I would always go with the Rose Bowl and just how beautiful it was. The Pasadena, we were playing against Oregon, the yellow, the green, the red, the scar. It was just crazy. So I always go with the Rose Bowl.
We're bouncing all over the place, but you talk about the Rose Bowl, and I have a take that a lot of people agree with me on. I don't know, Andrew, if we've even talked about this. What are your thoughts on the national championship game being played as the Rose Bowl every single year? It should be. That is college football.
If you know your college football history, I totally agree with you because, it's the first, when they say granddaddy of them all, it's literally the every bowl game followed the model that the Rose Bowl put in place, with, the teams doing a competition event throughout the week, the parade, all of the, the hoopla around it, literally every bowl game followed that model. And it was the first bowl game where, people got voted in, and obviously they played. It was just so weird. And then they would vote the national championship after So no, I'm with you on that. I think that something like that would be really cool, and it would just be a respect to, just show a lot of respect to just, college football history. And I'm with you, Joey. I like that take.
My go-to question about the Rose Bowl now, and we asked Urban this, and he answered a very urban-y answer, but I always say, would you rather in today's day, would you rather make the college football playoff and lose, whether it's in the first round or the championship, or win the Rose Bowl. And Urban said, he feels like he's going to puke and explode and all this stuff after every loss anyway. So he would definitely pick win the Rose Bowl. But if you were playing now, I have a feeling I know what your answer is going to be, but would you rather win the Rose Bowl or, have an opportunity to play for the championship?
I feel like it's like sort of one of those things, like it's like a basketball reference here. Like you got to make the tourney, you know what I mean? And I feel making the CFP every year, it holds a little more weight, but I mean, I gotta go with Urban. Like losing sucks. So man, I would say making a CFP every year instead of going to the college football, or instead of going to Rose Bowl and winning. I would go with going to the CFP. And plus, if you're a coach, that kind of locks that job in too. So
I remember, Andrew, when we asked him that, and we could maybe rephrase the question, we then said, okay, like maybe that's a little bit too easy. What about winning a high school state championship or losing in the college football playoff? Which
I never even sniffed the playoffs in high school. So I would probably go with a high school state championship just because like I never got to go,
What about as a coach though? Not as a player. Like as a player, like I get that, but as a coach,
I would still go with CFP. And if it was for a player, you get other opportunities to make it back to the CFP. But if I'm coaching, I'm going to the CFP every year.
It was Urban Meyer, man. That's an interview for a lot of different reasons. We'll go down and drive lane history, but when we asked him that, and he was like, "Guys, I'd rather die than lose." We were like, "Okay, next question."
I respect it, man. I mean, he has that mentality ingrained.
So you definitely played at a very interesting time in Ohio State history, and your career specifically touched, highs, definitely touched some lows, but player wise, who are some of the guys that you're like, these are the best football players I have ever played with? Like, no doubt, this guy.
Man, these are Buckeyes or just in?
Well, it can be NFL guys after, but like starting with when you were at Ohio State, who are the guys that you were like, these are the best guys I played with at Ohio State?
So I have this thing that I do, like I have like my favorite Buckeyes, and it kind of, and how I categorize. I don't want to like shift gears, but I categorize by like just what career I love the most. Like, and there's some recent Buckeyes that's kind of stole my heart, but I'll probably say in no particular order. To me, number one is, the first guy that comes to my name, my mind is Ted Ginn, just because that was my like vision of, I mean, I graduated in 2008. He was there in 2007, 2006. That was like my vision of what a Buckeye receiver looks like, and then outside that, Santonio Holmes, just because like, they played together, and Tone Holmes is one of the most underrated Buckeye receivers because he was an absolute dog, man. And he just put in work at Pittsburgh for years. And Braxton Miller is one of my favorite Buckeyes, just because of his career and the trajectory of it. And then we kind of have a special connection because we were both third rounders to Houston, so I respect B a lot. Then I would go with Chris Olave. I love his career just from the moment how it started. Like, I mean, dude scored his first tutty on special teams, blocking a kick, wearing number 17, to just becoming a first round draft pick out of, to New Orleans. And just, he really wasn't supposed to be the guy. I don't know if you guys know his recruiting story, but they were out there looking at another kid, and like, I mean, this guy just jumps off the screen. And then my last Buckeye I would go with is probably, who's my last favorite Buckeye? Joey Galloway, like, because a lot of people don't, this dude ran a 4.1 at Ohio State at the combine. Like, I don't know who had the clock that day. and I know lasers went around, but I mean, a 4.1, and it translates on film. So those are some of my favorite Buckeyes. And then if we were going like NFL, just being around some of the best players I've been around, Andre Johnson, J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins, Von Miller, and Demaryius Thomas, guys like that, man, and as recent Lamar Jackson. So I've been blessed to be around some pure talent, man, pure talent.
What about your favorite basketball player ever at Ohio State?
Ohio State. Okay, yeah, I can give you that. I'm gonna go with Jared Sullinger because that's my man. I just saw his year, I just witnessed his year when he just went absolutely crazy. Won Naismith's Player of the Year. He was in the same draft as me, and then number 2 would probably be Evan Turner, just because I love ET's, and I mean ET lived above us. He lived above us our freshman year, and so they made the Hoopers stay in the dorms for all 4 years. Do they still do that?
No.
Absolute torture. I mean, Dave Lighty,
2 years,
at least 2 years. Okay, yeah. Well, Dave Lighty was a senior, just like, man, I hate being in the dorms, you know. So, yeah. So
and Dave Lighty was a 25-year-old senior too.
Right. Yeah. So, but no, I remember ET just dribbling around campus. This guy wearing glasses. Everybody. How Evan talks. You're a Chicago guy, Joe. His voice tone is like it'll throw you off. Like, whoa, like talk like that.
Yeah.
And just seeing him and just watching his blow up, when he hit that, game winner in the Big Ten tournament and just having an absolute monster year. So I gotta go with those 2 guys as my 2 favorite Buckeye Hoopers.
Those are good answers.
They are good answers, but in all seriousness, the real follow-up question should have been, how close are you to not only the team, but the guys on the team and the wide receiver room, which has turned into the greatest room in college athletics, maybe even.
Yeah.
Obviously led by Hartline. How close are you to the squad still?
Oh, well, yeah, man, I try to just pop up. We just moved back during the pandemic, and I played obviously in Canada last year, but me and Hartline have a close relationship. I played with him my freshman year and just been always able to kind of reach out to him when I was in the league for advice and stuff like that. And I'm just so proud of his growth as a recruiter and as a coach. Man, he's the right guy to learn from, because I mean, I would call, hey, Hartline, if this guy has this kind of leverage, I don't have press. All right, man, look, do this, and things like that, and spending time with him in the off season. So, but just being able to get around those guys. I mean, it's absolutely crazy that 2 first rounders left and they got better. Like, it's just like insane. And just being able to see Marvin Harrison's growth from regular season to the Rose Bowl, it's like what happened during bowl practice that just made this kid so good. And obviously JSN, man, I mean, we're witnessing like hands down, like, and it's crazy to say, like one of the best receivers to ever come to Ohio State, statistics wise, stats wise, and then just ability. I mean, this dude, I don't know if you know, Joey, but like he has like between the legs explosiveness on the hoop court. Yeah. So to me, I feel like if that vertical, explosion translates to this, which is separation. And I think that's what makes him so good, is that, he can give you a move and then, just explode and run after catch. I always tell people he's like Santana Moss with like Wes Welker's mind. And that's a scary combo. It's a scary combo.
How long? I mean, one thing that we have talked about recently, just because Ohio State basketball has gotten some incredible recruits lately. And we have a great young, like top assistant coach, Jake Diebler. And Brian Hartline is doing the exact same thing to an even higher level at Ohio State. How long until, and maybe you know this better than me, does Brian Hartline become a head coach somewhere next, or does he become an OC somewhere next? What's the trajectory for him, and how quickly will it be? Like, should we be, I know the answer is yes to this, but should we be soaking up the last few years of Brian Hartline right now?
Well, I hope that Hartline doesn't leave us anytime soon. I hope that he kind of stays and does the Venables who, just supported Dabo and then just waits for the right opportunity. But I don't know when or if he becomes the next Ohio State coach, and here's why. I do think the next Ohio State coach will be a Buckeye. And there's 3 guys that come to my mind. It's no particular order: Luke Fickell, Brian Hartline, and I do think there's a chance, if the job opens up, that Mike Vrabel becomes a potential candidate. And I just don't know when that is, but Buckeye fans, you guys, I'll go on the record and say that the next Ohio State coach will be, a familiar Buckeye from like the last 20, 25 years for sure.
I like that prediction. I also like those three names, but I also like Ryan Day. And
yeah, I'm not short Ryan. I don't want Ryan to go anywhere. It's
because Ryan Day will be the head coach of the Bears. That's why.
Yeah.
I know Day is an NFL guy and things like that, but this Ohio State job is great, but it's changed since he's been here, right? I mean, like when he signed the contract, they weren't talking about NIL and dealing, and becoming essentially a GM, So
yeah,
that's wearing on you too.
That's a great transition to my next question, which I've been saving. So, there's all the NIL stuff. There's the foundation. More stuff happened, last week with NIL. When you see that, are you freaking kidding me? Or are you like, good for these dudes?
Well, the thing with me, I always just try to like use love, bro, because if you don't, man, you can, it'll spoil you rotten. So for me, like, I love it. In the way I look at my time, I always just kind of fancy like, well, damn, we were pioneers then, because a case really wasn't a case built around, tattoos for money. I mean, obviously we got free tats, but on top of that, we got in trouble with the NCAA for name, image, and likeness. Because we understood how to make money off of our name, image, and likeness. So our case will go down in history along with a few other cases from guys around the country. But I think it was sort of like a pioneer. And I didn't die, but they tried to a martyr, I guess, if you will. But yeah, so I look at it like that. Hats off for the kids. It took, things like what we went through for people to realize that this is a machine and that, it produces a lot of money and the kids are the main product. And if they can't profit share, or if you're not going to share the profits, well, at least allow them to profit off of this time in their career and in their life. And I love it for them, man. It's mind blowing, but I know it's kind of tough on like people who have the older mindset, like, oh, these are amateurs and stuff like that. But hey, this is the new world we're living in.
The way I look at it, I'm way different than you, obviously, because your story is well documented and we can talk about it if you want to, and we don't have to talk about it. Mm-hmm. But like with me, I had t-shirts and stuff. Like it's so different, but like the littlest thing is me having to just give my friends and family the t-shirts, and like it was money out of my family's pocket and we couldn't get it back. And you look at like Homage and all these awesome brands that would have done it in a heartbeat, right? And it's just like there's no harm, right? Though you look back at there's no harm that's being done. And I'm the same way as you. I'm happy for everybody. I feel like if I had a little ounce of impact in making it happen, then amazing, great. My kid will have NIL hopefully when he is playing in college. Like it's all good. So I'm glad you feel the same way, because we could both easily be incredibly salty and come out and be, the classic old men that are like, no, NIL should not exist. They get a free education. That's good enough, which those people suck and are annoying.
Yeah, they are. And the thing about it is, it's just like, you don't understand the pressure. Like I kind of mentioned to, us living below the Hoopers. Like, come on, man, people knew where we lived, it was pressure. It was everywhere around you, and the thing about it is it's not the school, it's the Ohio State fan base and the love that they have for this team. And what people don't realize is, Cleveland has the Browns, Cavs, and the Guardians. Cincinnati has the Bengals, Reds, and we're competing with the Blue Jackets. Like, come on, like this is a bigger brand. Like this is the professional team in the city. Funny story about that. I was playing in Canada. Mitch Marner would come to our games, Toronto Maple Leaf guy, and he was telling me a story after a game. He said this veteran was with the Blue Jackets before they got to the Maple Leafs. And, he's buying this girl, drinks at the bar all night, reeling her in. And then in walks an Ohio State walk-on. And this dude is making $3.5 million. he doesn't even buy the girl drinks. He just snatches her arm and leaves. And that's the power of Ohio State football. And I just say it like that.
Love that. Oh.
I think what's so funny about NIL that I've seen is all these kids who like can't really like act or anything like that are in these Dr. Pepper commercials and stuff like that. I'm like, this is where it'll change in a few years. Like it'll stop. Like Luther Burden at Mizzou. I went to Mizzou, so freshman over there, 5-star. He's on a bag of chips, and those are flying off the shelves. They can't keep them in the stores because he doesn't have to like act and be like, hey, look at this bag of chips. So I think what's going to change is less acting from the NIL guys.
Andrew, I would have died to be in a commercial. Oh my God.
Yeah, you would have been great at it, but like Kyle Young wouldn't have been as good in a commercial as you.
I know. What would, if you could have one thing, obviously Andrew didn't go to Ohio State, but he knows the campus, he knows what's around. If you could turn back the clock and get give me a few options, any NIL deal in Columbus or beyond, but mostly in Columbus, what would you want?
I'll be honest, Joey, we had NIL deals. We just got in trouble for it. I'm not even trying to, but we did. I mean, bro, you name it, man. I mean, I'm not gonna put anybody on a bus, but bro, it was a good time.
I know that's true. And I'm not gonna say that we did because it's not the same. Basketball is not the same as football, and it wasn't the same at this point in Ohio State history versus your point. Yeah. But just humor me.
Okay, I'll give you time. I wish I understood the power of social media. And that's a good one because my years were 08 to 12. Like literally, my wife told me to download Instagram when I was over her house one day. Like, yo, it's only for iPhone users. Like, I was like, word? Like, oh, I gotta get rid of this BlackBerry? Nah, I'm not getting rid of this BlackBerry. And so, it was just when, Instagram was for iPhone users. A freshman on the team told me to download Twitter, and he broke it down like, yo, it's just like Facebook statuses, but like you just put your status up and then like it's like a feed, and you're like, bro, that's not cool. But Chad Johnson understood it. I was always a big, huge, Chad Johnson fan, obviously, because I grew up in Cincinnati, and I wore 85, anytime I had the opportunity. But I wish I understood the power of social media at that time and really used it. Like, imagine if we were like using it before these brands knew the power. That's what I wish I can, turn the clocks on and kind of capitalize on that. So
I only got a few more questions for you because this
Buckeye Donuts. Buckeye Donuts was the answer. Buckeye Donuts was the answer.
For you?
For anybody. I feel like how cool would it be to be the Buckeye Donuts guy?
Oh man, no, I didn't even think about Buckeye. I've never even been there.
Really?
No, I mean,
you're not a sweets guy?
No, I'm a Tim Hortons guy. Like I'm a Tim Hortons guy. Yeah. I like those.
It's different for you. If I have it in Canada, I might change my mind too. But like Buckeye Donuts, man, you gotta have. Are you a peanut butter guy?
I love peanut butter, yeah, but I don't know about peanut butter donuts.
No, you just gotta have a Buckeye donut. It's a chocolate like frosted donut, like the most normal donut with peanut butter just scooped on top. It's phenomenal.
Ooh, that's kind of intense, man. In the morning?
I do not get it at first thing. It's not a first thing in the morning thing. It's like Ohio State basketball is playing at noon against Purdue on the road, and I'm sitting on my couch like I'm gonna go pick up 12 donuts for the boys.
I like that. Yeah, I'm big on donuts. Unfortunately, I can go through. Like, I always FaceTime my boys when I'm going through the drive-thru, and I always mute the phone when I order because it's just like, it's just like, yo, give me a second.
I'm just saying, I'll call my parents and I'll be like, driving. When me and Andrew were doing something this past summer for a basketball tournament, I was getting home super late at night, and I would have to drive through wherever was open to get something to eat on the way home. Yeah. And I would call my mom would always, very motherly thing to do, call me to make sure I'm staying awake at the wheel. Yeah. And I'd go through the drive-thru, and my dad would be sitting in the living room, whatever, talking to me. I'd be like, can I get like a McChicken? And my dad would be like, and you need more. Like, all right, maybe I should mute these guys.
Yeah, like, don't food shame me, yo. Like,
yeah, come on, man. I'm hungry and tired.
Yeah, I feel it.
Do you have a behind the scenes off the field story from your time at Ohio State that comes to mind? Like something funny that like Terrelle Pryor did, or something funny that Tressel said to you guys outside of like a game or anything like that?
Man, let me think. I mean, I had a lot of stories, but I don't know if they're like on camera appropriate. But I have a lot of stories.
Selfishly, I would love a Jim Tressel story.
A Jim Tressel story?
Did you ever think about converting to punter to get a little more PT?
No, I got a Jim Tressel story. I had it was after the Michigan game. I kind of got a little toasty, before I was supposed to or allowed to get toasty, and I couldn't hold my toast, so I kind of passed out, and I fell so hard, and I just was like, yo, oh man, I think I ate, might have been food poison or something, whatever, coach, like. And so I go to the hospital, and the next day, I had a Volkswagen 1997 Volkswagen Jetta, and my cousin Greg Jones, he was a linebacker at Michigan State. He, like, every break, he would just, like, his roommate was from Columbus, so he would ride back from Lansing, and then he would jump in my car, and we would go to Cincinnati. And so Tressel was trying to tell me I had a concussion, and this is out of season. This is not, during the season at all. Trying to tell me I had a concussion. And so he ends up, he drove me home and dropped me off at my mom's house. And I'll be honest, like, I never ever let that happen again. Like, it's just like, yo, like, this is so awkward. Just for 2 hours in the car, because Tressel, like, shifting gears in my Jetta. He's like, oh, so food poisoning, huh? Like, yeah, coach, like, hey, like, it's crazy. Like, that man, like, I don't know what happened. And he just, like, looking at me all the time, like, oh, food poisoning. He just dropped me home. And he walks in my house and just like, I just wanted to make sure DeVier got home safely. And I cleaned up my act after that, Joey, Andrew. I'm not going to lie, I did.
I would love to know, what was his living room recruiting pitch to you? What sold you?
Tress, the thing with Tress, he had like the light touch. Like, word on the street is he kept a file that basically said, hey, like, DeVier Posey, like, has 2 brothers, 1 sister, his aunt's name is this, or his family, this is his family's business, or his mom does this. And so he kept like a personal profile on everyone. And so he would like touch on those things in the house. He complimented my grandmother's fried chicken. Like, this dude, like, he was wearing the vest, and like, I was like, damn, this dude wears the vest like does he wear it every day? Like, he's like, oh shit, like, he's in my house with the vest on, like, and he's just like, when he speaks, he just knows how to captivate a room, and just like, he takes these pauses and like he like smacks his lips, or he like might put his hand up, like he must have took a body language course, I don't know, but man, he takes you over, and it's just like, he straight up told me like, yo, you're not leaving the state of Ohio. And I was like, you're right. Where do I sign? And it was that easy. I committed my junior year. It was an easy sell.
Where else were you, if you had to go back and you couldn't go to Ohio State, where else were you considering?
I would have went to Oklahoma. Yeah.
Boomer. Who was their quarterback?
It would have been, I'd have got some Sam Bradford and some Landry Jones. Yeah, I'd have got some, and Stoops was an Ohio guy. Kevin Sumlin was there. So I grew up really like, have you guys ever saw Malcolm Kelly's freestyle?
Yes. Everyone. Andrew, you know it. If you don't know it off the top, you know it if you saw it.
You know it, bro. Like, I knew that by heart as a kid. and like Adrian Peterson, Jason White, Malcolm Kelly, like, that was just a awesome team. And then I was a big Hollis Price fan. Y'all remember Hollis Price? Y'all know, you might be too young, but
Hollis Price.
I
can't even take that.
Hollis Price was like a homeless hooper, and he like just like hooped his way out of poverty, and like he played at Oklahoma, and he was there with Andrew Lavender. Andrew Lavender was a guy from here in Columbus. He was like one of it was his team, Brookhaven.
His sister played at Ohio State. One of the best players ever.
Yeah. So Andrew Lavender, man, and Brent and Hollis Price were just teammates, and I knew about Andrew Lavender from just growing up in Ohio, and so I just fell in love with that. Like, Joe, if you don't know, I'm a hooper, man.
All right, good to know. We'll go to a game this year.
Come play on my rec team on Thursdays, man.
Oh, gee, I love basketball. I haven't played in like 6 months, but
yeah,
I would come out of retirement. I can be convinced.
Come on, we just set up in the corner. I'll drive and kick.
Perfect. I'll tell you what, I won't play any defense.
All right, cool. We'll play zone. It's all good.
All right, good. All right, I'm in.
No, I used to go back in the day, like, and I'm like, I used to go to open gym. I got to brag a bit. I used to go to Diebler and the guys would invite me.
Yeah.
Right. And Jeff Bowles, he was at Ohio State at the time.
That's our guy.
That's your guy?
Yeah.
He recruited me at Akron. And so he reached out and was like, hey, man, you should come by, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I'll come by. I realized the gap between like being good in high school and like high level D1. Like,
thank you. Well, Andrew, will you clip that and send it to Tyvis, please?
Yeah.
It's a gap, man.
So Tyvis thinks, and
yeah,
Andrew has more questions, but like as you can tell, we just go wherever the wind takes us. Yeah. Tyvis thinks that Ohio State football can compete with Ohio State basketball in a basketball game.
See, here's the thing. Like, hoopers in open gym are better than they are on TV. Like,
of course.
Like, bro, with no pressure. I mean, this dude Diebler was ending games in like 4 minutes. Like, he's coming down, layup, lighty up. Here goes layup. Yeah. It's just like he's shooting a three. I mean, it's just like it's a big gap. It's a huge gap, and the conditioning level and the pace of play. Like football players can go and hoop, but like they're gonna come down the court like, all right, let me come get you. But it's just another level of pace.
It's a different world.
Guys aren't missing open shots.
What I say all the time, and this is maybe just because I probably just because I played Ohio State and couldn't have played a different college sport. You know, I didn't play another sport in high school.
Yeah.
If football players if they were as good at both sports, they would choose basketball. For sure. Hands down. So that's what my argument boiled down to. If they were good enough, they would be there.
For sure. I mean, I'm with you on
and that's
that.
No disrespect. That's just.
No, but bro, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not going to Oakland or Akron. I'm going to Ohio State or Oklahoma too. So,
right.
So like,
exactly. No, that's exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, I agree with you, but man,
I'm
a big
silly Tyvis. Yeah, to be fair, he said they would keep it within 15 points, which I still think is ridiculous. But
no, in a full game, like 20 minutes.
They play a full game. He's like DeJuan Jones versus Zed Key. I'm like, dude, DeJuan Jones cannot play 15 minutes in a 40-minute game. No, I mean, we're not playing like real defense, denying the ball, like, getting through screens, having help side, being able to see the ball. No, there's no way. You can't start a pick and roll, DeJuan Jones. Put him in that all day long. He's in a blunder. All right, sorry. Yeah.
DeVier, you got a good head on your shoulders, unlike Tyvis. No. But in all seriousness, though, my last question, gonna give you a chance to, predict the future here. So this episode is gonna air after the Notre Dame game. So what is your score prediction and maybe like a stat or two? Well, the spread is 17.5. And I think we cover. I think we get to go late. I think there will be a special teams return touchdown that'll help us. And I do think this defensive line is ready to stop the run. Word on the street is Notre Dame. They've been watching film, and if you look at the Minnesota game, Oregon game, Utah game, any game that we had that was tight or that we lost, the formula to beat Ohio State supposedly is run the ball 25 times, control the clock, obviously win the time possession. I think Notre Dame will try that approach, and
and word on the street, based off of Holly Rose, my own eyes, is this D lineman group has just been leading the charge with energy every day. Larry Johnson is rejuvenated as a coach with this group, and under Jim Knowles' scheme, and just being able to see this group stop the run. I do think there will be a lot of pressure on the linebackers, not calling them out, but I mean, that's a position that I want to see take a leap this year and be like, okay, like this is what we are used to seeing.
Buckeye football.
This is what we're used to seeing in that right there in that area with that position group, with guys like Darian Lee, Carpenter Hawk, Raekwon McMillan, we're Ryan Shazier. Like, I want one of those guys to have one of those years, because that will make a difference in this team. And I think our defensive back room is like just made a leap, and I think those guys will be really good too. So,
all right. Before we get to the next question, do you want to give us a score prediction and a player of the game, just to full on predict the future mode right now?
Man, I'm not good with score predictions, but I guess I'll throw one out there. Let's see if we can go.
You got to get clever, because 17.5 is kind of a weird.
Yeah, we'll go. I'll go 37-19.
Okay.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. How do you even get to How do you even get to 37?
We're gonna have
a bunch of field goals.
We're gonna have some field goals. They'll stop us a bit, but I got to get that point half. It'll be around there. Yeah. But we covered.
We did cover. What about a player of the game? Is it as simple as CJ Stroud? Are you going to give us something fun? Give player of the game? This is going to be so silly if you're just so wrong too. We won't hold you. We won't do you to anything.
If we return a kick, and obviously they're going to have number 11 circled. I think Emeka Ibuka could be a potential surprise, player of the game. I'm really looking forward to see what he can do in the return game. If you guys remember the Rose Bowl, Utah almost beat us, man. I was nervous in that game, but before that last drive, Emeka Ibuka had a 42-yard return that got us home. I think Henderson had a pitch. We had one pass, kicked the field goal. Noah Ruggles, who never struggles, kicked it right in.
That's so good.
And that's how we won, guys.
How have we not said that?
Noah Ruggles, who never struggles. DeVier, my season-long prediction is TreVeyon Henderson throws a touchdown this year.
I like that. Is TreVeyon at the Heisman finalist award? I want to ask you guys.
He better be, because
hold on. Don't ask that question yet. Joey, let's wrap this up, and then he can ask.
Well, first, save that. Save that. I do want another question. This is easy, but I want to know, I'm sure you're going to say Ohio State is in the college football playoff, but did they lose a game before they got there? And will they win the national championship?
No. So I was talking about this on my show. Somebody had Utah.
Desmond Howard.
Well, no, Utah State making the playoffs. And here's how it happened. That means Alabama loses to Utah State. I think Alabama, but that might not be their only loss, but I'm saying that to say I think Alabama takes a dive. I think we run the table and we go into the CFP at 1. I think North Carolina State beats Clemson again, beats Miami. This quarterback Leary is going to sneak into the first round. He's going to be a first or second round pick. I think he'll go late to a good team like Pickett did this year. But I think Leary sneaks into the first round. And for him to sneak into the first round, this kid has to have a year like that. I think, and just with the ACC being kind of down, I think NC State might sneak in. That's my dark horse. I think Utah sneaks in, and we only have one SEC team.
Wow. And it's Georgia then, not Alabama? Or it's still Alabama?
Well, still Alabama. Alabama's going to get that one loss.
So you think it's going to be a Utah State?
No. I just mentioned Utah State to say that I think Alabama could potentially lose one. But there was a guy who they put a $1,000 bet that Utah State would win the Natty. Like he did it last week.
So your four is Ohio State 1, Bama, Utah, and NC State.
And it's that's my dark horse.
I like
That's
it.
Dark horse. I wouldn't go to the grave, but I think, maybe a Georgia or something like that. They might have two, SEC teams, if not them. But if Lurie has the year that he has, and I base it off of like pro potential, right? Like you have to have a good year to become like, to sneak into these rounds. And I'm looking at draft grades. I'm like, man, who is this kid? And then you look and say like, well, they got a lot of returning starters. They got a lot of returning receivers. The ACC is kind of weak. If they get Miami, I'm not really a big believer in crystal ball in Miami and UM. I don't know why. I don't think UM football is back. I don't get that feeling.
Because they're another UM. That's probably why.
Exactly. Right. And then I just feel like Clemson is on a downward trend. I see them maybe escaping out of the ACC, but hey, I'll die on that sword.
All right. We're going to wrap this up, and we told you to save the question because the way we end every interview, sponsored by our great friends at Brain Fuel, which DeVier will make sure you get some Brain Fuel. The way we end every show, and we know you're a devout Drive the Lane podcast listener, but we'll explain it for anybody who's listening for the first time. The way we end every show is we turn the tables on you. It's now your show. It's Drive the DeVier Posey, and it's your show to ask us any questions you've been dying to ask us.
Okay. Let me see.
Football, basketball, life. We've been asked how soon until we have kids. We've been asked everything.
Okay. So, all right. 2 questions. And I'm gonna give you, these are easy. Does Holtman make it to the Sweet 16 this year? Is this the team? Is this the year to do it? And if we can get Bronny in this next recruiting class, does this class become the best class since Greg Oden, Mike Conley, Daquan Cook, Dave Lighty?
Andrew, you want to take that one, or you want me to go?
Joey, you can take a stab at it.
Okay. First off, the reason why I think that this could be the year that they make the Sweet 16 is because this is the year that we know jack shit about the team. You know what I mean? Like, we just know we return like 12% of our scoring, and like all these guys are new guys or freshmen or transfers. Like, we know nothing. So therefore, last year we thought they were going to make the Sweet 16, and when we knew everybody, now we know nobody. So they'll make the Sweet 16.
Okay.
So this is the year. I say it every year, but this is the actual year. They make the Sweet 16, and that's a great question about Bronny. I was a part of a top 10 class, which is hilarious to say because everybody transferred before my junior year. There was a class that had 3 top 30 players after I graduated. There's been some really good classes, strictly rankings wise, but of course, if it's Bronny James and Devin Royal and Sky Middleton, like, that's a formidable class. And like the dudes that, like Austin Parks, or his last name's Parks, I think it's Austin. Like, that dude's a mountain of a man, like, huge guy from Ohio. So do I think they'll be the highest? It's not even fair to compare him to Greg Oden, Mike Conley, Daquan. Like, that is the best recruiting class in the history of college athletics. Like, it's not fair.
I say, will they be the best class since then?
Yeah, I know. It's just like, will they be the best? Sure. I mean, like, anyone, give me Bronny. I am so all aboard the Bronny train, and I'm an MJ guy till I die, which Andrew's a LeBron guy.
Yeah.
So like, but I will fake it till I make it around LeBron to get Bronny to Ohio State. I think that changes. I think that packs the stadium every single night. Ohio State basketball is already on the map because Holtman's done a great job, but like, it'll be great for that season, future seasons. I don't think he'll be a one and done unless LeBron is like guaranteeing a first round pick, right, for whatever team he's on. Yeah. Like, it just sets up Ohio State basketball for years. Like, we officially become the LeBron school then. You know what I mean? So I would put all my eggs in that basket if I was Ohio State. So he would make more money than I'll make in my lifetime his freshman year at Ohio State.
Bro, I said, don't go to Lithuania and make 800K or play in the G League and make it. Bro, you will make so much money if you come here, bro.
And you'll be a legend. You will be like, I don't know, but not to the same level that you know. You could be making $0 and you're a legend at Ohio State if you're an athlete. I mean, like,
he builds his own legacy here. Like this is just like your dad didn't come. You have a chance to build your own legacy. Forget those 23 fake LeBron jerseys. It'll only be 0 Bronny jerseys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
100%. I'm so with you.
I got two Bronny theories that I just thought of.
Oh, I love it.
The first one, and I love LeBron. The first one is maybe Bronny, obviously he's unbelievable, but maybe he's not like that good. Like he wouldn't be a typical Oregon, Duke, Ohio State, Kentucky-esque player. So let's leak a little.
You watched him play. He's incredible.
Yeah, he's incredible. But the experts who do this for a living don't think he's as incredible as people had once thought.
A top 40 player in the country isn't incredible?
Well, everyone thought he was going to be like number 5 because he's LeBron's kid. Let me finish what I'm saying.
Right.
My theory is
he's going to listen to this, Andrew.
He also doesn't have all, and I love LeBron. He also doesn't have all the offers. Yes, if he comes to visit Ohio State, if he goes to visit Oregon, they're going to offer. But I think a little bit is like, hey, Ohio State is going to offer you, okay? You're LeBron's son. If he gets that Ohio State offer, then other teams are going to be like, oh, well, what does Holtman see? What does Ohio State see? So he might be using Ohio State a little bit for leverage. And then my second theory is it so ridiculous to think that Bronny would go to Akron? How cool would that be?
He's not going to Akron.
I don't know. I mean,
the first one's more of a real theory. The second one is kind of just funny. Like, think it'd be cool. Like, I can't believe that somehow he didn't play at St. Vincent St. Mary's. Like, that would have been.
And that's what I believe. I like Bronny. You were born in Ohio.
Yes.
You owe Ohio.
Finish what you started, Bronny.
You owe Ohio. Like, forget your dad. I'm not talking about. Let's just cut off the last name. You're some kid named LeBron. Where were you born? So you
cut off the first name. Cut off the first name and say you're a kid with the last name James.
Yeah, Mr. James. Hey, you are from Ohio. You were born here. You owe us. And then even on top of that, it's like, okay, now let's go back to your family pedigree. Like, LeBron grew up on a team that won a state championship as a freshman. Like, his boys, Sheon Cotton, Drew Joyce, Romeo Travis, like, that's why, like, people don't know, like, that's what Bron, like, longs for. Like, when he was in Cleveland, that's why he went to Miami. He wants to be on a team. Like, he believes in, and the thing about LeBron that I always say is he's not the best, like, number 1 overall player, but in the name of Dr. James Naismith, who made the game with Peachtree baskets, and you only allowed to dribble when they were passing it. Like, it was a team game. LeBron is the best teammate of all time. He's the best teammate of all time because guys come and they just get better. And he believes in, he has some of the best court vision, like, just hands down, just a team player, I believe. And I think we get mad and we all want him to be more selfish, and we want him to be like Jordan. Joey, I'm pretty sure you're like that. Or, and the Kobe fans are like, be like Kobe. But it's like, bro, like it's a team game. So I think what Bron is saying, like, hey, boy, you need to go be on a good team for college. You know what I mean? Like, this is a good recruiting class. Like, go be a part of a team. Go win a national championship.
Buckeyes.
The Buckeyes. Come join the team.
I'm with you. But I also think LeBron is crazy, 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 crazy smart. And he's smart enough to be like, let's use Ohio State as some leverage here. I think Bronny's great. I think LeBron is the GOAT. So that's my stance. Like, I think Bronny's going to be a good player. But I do also think, like, LeBron is a smart enough marketer to where if it's the best market for Bronny, he's going to suggest he go there. But then also, if it's a good way to generate buzz, he's going to make sure that happens. Yeah. And as a LeBron stan, I can also point out some funny things about it. Like, it'll be pretty funny if Bronny's at the Notre Dame game and all the cameras are on LeBron. Like that would be very like he's like
that's how it works.
Right, but he's like he could just not go and Bronny could just go. But of course LeBron's going to go. I think there's better chance LeBron's going regardless. Maybe he'll bring his son. LeBron's going to go regardless.
Right.
He's going regardless. I mean, he loves the Bucks, man. So I don't see in a world where this doesn't happen. You know, I don't.
I love it.
I don't.
Love it, bro.
All right.
So thanks for having me, guys.
This has been awesome.
Wow.
This exceeded expectations. I hope it exceeded your expectations.
Man.
We would love to have you back on the show. Joey's in Columbus, so I'm sure you guys will link up at some point with 97.1 The Fan stuff, maybe some pregame game days. But if I'm ever in Columbus, we're all getting together.
Joey, bring me on for some hoops, man. I love to talk hoops, bro. Let's do it.
Yes. If it was up to me, it would be you, me, and Tyvis all day long, and Timmy Hall. That's my guy. But yeah, we got to figure something out for sure. Absolutely.
Blacking out early, that's the dish I don't like. Been getting paid since I was riding on the bike. Hit the pedal with the 8th, hopping on the 9th flight. I've been chilling out of sight. I'll be at the bar tonight. Told the bartender go and take my card to swipe. You try the same thing, but your card get declined. White rappers nowadays, no one not too hard to find. I'm so dapper with my ways, I'm gonna linger in your mind. Always told me good things will come to those who are patient, but I've been way too patient, writing bars in my basement. I'm anxious in the real world, it's time for me to say this. The basics, the talent in my mind, I can't waste it. My life is too safe, it's my time for risk taking. I'm baking my mind, every day is the same ish. Lazy, my grind needs to get a new facelift. Coming from the underground and busting through the pavement. Rock with it and lean with it. My team winning, my team winning. Now rock with it and lean with it. My team turn up when I spit it. Now rock with it and lean with it. My team winning, my team winning. Now rock with it and lean with it. My team turn up when I spit it. Don't think that I'm playing because I'm saving the game, and I said that I will be more because oh yeah, that is so raving, racing and pacing around all these lames in my lane, out my way, unless you're trying to pay me. Not from the playpen, it's coming from the jungle. When you hear the bell, you better be ready to rumble because I'ma grab the gloves and I'm gonna flex my muscles. Go ahead and spit some bars, but you're probably just gonna mumble. A lot of rappers these days really need to get them humble because they think they at the top, they better stop before they stumble. Cause I'm swiping all their biddies while they swiping right on Bumble. And your girlie calls me daddy, but she only calls you uncle. But no, we not related, homie, no, we not some fam. You never get in clubs, you can't even